Hey guys, JB in the house. It's a new day, a new way, and a whole new world because Straight Line certification is here. So most of you signed up for the program. I commend you. Trust me, as you already see, it's ridiculous, right? But there's a lot more to it than meets the eye because here's now what I can do. My greatest struggle with the daily motivations and the weekly intensives and what sometimes would make it difficult for people to use all the information to the point they almost get overwhelmed, which is not a good thing, right? I am now able to match the daily motivations to the actual content that you're formally learning in Straight Line certification. So now there's not just going to be 5 daily motivations. You're getting 7 days a week because you're going through for the next 12 weeks. For the first 12 weeks, you're getting curated daily motivations that I've actually thought through versus me just walking on the. I know you love those too, right? And you'll still have access to those in the archives, right? But I'm making sure that I want you to be thinking about the things that you're learning in each module. So, for instance, someone who started if you just started now, right? Let's say you started a month after the launch, you're going to be receiving a different daily motivation than the person who started 2 weeks ago for the next 12 weeks. You get it? So there's a 12-week, because there's 12 modules, and you get 1 module a week. And I know some of you would like to go faster, and I'll play it by ear. And if I really see people are getting through it quicker, I'll do 2 a week. But it's so important that you go through these in a regimented fashion, because I'm layering on extra content. What you see there, and you have your learning module, it's more to it that's coming. Like, for instance, this weekly intensive, this on Tuesday, is going to match this module as well. And I'm only going to be answering questions that relate to that particular module. Now, for those of you who are not on the program, well, listen, you can, of course, you can still attend. It's still the same amazing content, right? It's just that I just think it's so much of a more powerful situation now when everything is organized, because the Straight Line, when it's learned this way, as I've laid it out in the new certification program, it's so much more effective, so much more easy to learn, because one piece of it builds on the next. So I was able to go into these in-depth explanations of the psychology, of the reasons for certain things, and then make you go through quizzes and exercises here. So to make sure that you understand exactly what you need to understand before you move forward. It's the perfect equivalent. It's like, when you were a kid in public school. If you were kind of like not a great student in 3rd and 4th grade and never learned your arithmetic tables, you didn't do well in algebra, and you became like a bad student because you didn't have the underpinnings. In other words, it's these little building blocks in the beginning to have a deep fundamental understanding of how this works that allows you to get to these ultra high levels of efficiency. I know it'll be, oh yeah, let's just go to looping and show me the language patterns to close. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not. I'm asking you to work with me. Give me these 12 weeks to go through this in an organized fashion and watch what happens. You'll get results straight away. And you have so much other content you want to jump ahead. You're in the back end. Yeah, you get all this, because I'm sure you're all on the Wolf Network. But I'm asking you to focus your learning on one subject at a time, because I've laid them out in a way that just they're going to build one atop the other, and you will see the difference so fast. I've already gotten so many emails. By the way, I think we've gotten about 250 emails, right? We have close to 700 signups already, which is unbelievable, right? But we've gotten so many emails, and everyone is just saying that it's amazing, it's great, it's awesome. So thank you for that. Keep making comments, by the way. And also, I'm looking for constructive criticism. Seriously. Remember, this is the 4.0 version, right? There's going to be 4.1, 4.2. Every day, I'm thinking about how do I make it even better and more robust and even more interactive. This is level 1 interactivity. Trust me. In a year from now, it's going to be ridiculous. And once you buy it, listen, you pay for it, you have it for the rest of your life. And it doesn't go away after. It's not like it's a 1-year situation. You get it because you're buying it outright. So you get all the upgrades, There might be, if they really make major overhauls, there might be a small fee for an upgraded version, but these general updates are free, okay? So it just becomes more and more robust, okay? That being said, let's start the daily motivation here. And I want to, so just in these first few minutes, I had to just get this out, right? So your motivation didn't actually start yet, all right? And the train didn't start, but I had to explain these things to you, right? One final point I want to make here is that remember that each motivation, there's 2 things I do. Number one, I want to make sure that you're understanding the content you're learning applying it in the real world. So this is about practical application. And two, that I'm keeping you going one foot in front of the other. You know, motivation on its own is like I always say it's a warm bath. It feels good. You should probably take one every day, right? They're not bad for you, but they don't last. They don't stick. But when you combine that with skills training, then it does stick. So the idea is for me to keep every single day making sure your skills are sharp, you're on the ball, right? And then you also that you bring your best self to the table every day. So I'm organizing with 5 daily motivations, right? And then some of you might work Saturdays, some of you even Sundays, right? I'm gonna give you just short little blips on Saturday. Hey, hello, what's going on? Hope we'll see whether you're relaxing or not. And that's for the first 12 weeks. Then you'll go back and you'll have your dailies anyway, okay? So let's rock and roll. All right. So we're gonna start off with, you guys went through the introduction, which I think was pretty cool, right? And you'll notice I'm not cursing in these because there's no more curses because it's a corporate program, right? Which is kind of fun, right? So I'm gonna keep it clean here, right? And I think that's good anyway, right? So let's go. So you went through the introduction, right? That set up module 1, which is cracking the code. And let me just give you, the thoughts for today here while you're out in the field. Remember, okay, what took the straight line and made it this incredible tool that any salesperson could use. I went through this whole story about, Pluto with this. Don't even, for this first lesson, that was just all to create context for you. The most important takeaway from module number 1, what I want you to focus on right now is those 3 basic tenets of the front half of the straight line. That's your takeaway here. Okay, number 1, that you must take immediate control of the sale. That's take that from this first lesson. Number 2, that you're going to use that control to gather intelligence. Massive intelligence, identifying people's needs, values, beliefs. Right? This is just from lesson 1, right? So it's a framing lesson, right? Just remember, I want you to focus, but that's your takeaway. Is that second step is to gather intelligence. You don't use control to become a talking head, talk. You gather and you use control to be positioned as an expert, and then it allows you to ask questions and get answered honestly. Now, how you do that's coming in the next module, right? Next week. But, because there's so much more, this is just, you're scratching the surface here, right? But I want you to have this core takeaway. Remember, because you all know, you probably studied some other less robust versions of the straight line, so you know what comes next. You know about Sharpe's attack enthusiast. So you're not just blind as a bat here. You're not unconsciously incompetent. You know what to do. But you're learning it now in such a deeper, more deliberate way that you're going to be able to use this to truly become someone that can close anyone who's closable. And that's what the straight line's all about. So it starts with taking immediate control. That's your takeaway. Number 2, using that control to gather massive intelligence, right? Asking questions, 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen twice as much as you're speaking. Remember, along with that, this key takeaway here is that, when you're off the straight line, but inside those boundaries, right? What that really means is, so when you ask a question to a prospect, tell me, how long you've been living in this area for? That question was directly on the straight line. As they start to answer you and they tell you the information you need to gather, that's called being off the straight line but in the boundaries. Just remember this visual because it's so powerful to understand what is really going on as you influence. You ask questions, people answer you, and the key is not to get caught up in that insanity of where they start to ramble and spiral off to Pluto or Uranus, and you jump into nightmare because the water's warm. Oh my God, you like fishing? I like fishing. And I'll go into that in much later detail to avoid that. But the point is, just remember, when you need to know the building blocks, the terminology. When you're on the line, directly on the line, that's when you're talking and you're actually presenting and persuading. When you're off the straight line, but inside those healthy boundaries, that's when you are listening actively. Your prospect is speaking, you are listening actively, which now takes us to the 3rd basic tenet of the front half of the straight line, which is you want to use that question and that gathering intelligence to build massive rapport. We build rapport by asking really smart questions. And believe me, wait till you get to the prospecting module. I mean, we turn this into like literally science, a damn science project. So there's just no way you won't be able to go through an amazing intelligence gathering session when this is done, no matter what industry you're in. You know, offline, online, in person, on the phone, doesn't matter. And also, by the way, one other thing I've really added to the back end here is how you take the people, the secondary follow-ups, how you become a follow-up expert to those that don't buy in the first go-around for all the longer sales cycles. How do you keep on top of those people like white on rice? But keeping it to this first module here, right? 3 takeaways. Number 1, take immediate control. Number 2, use that control to gather massive intelligence. Beliefs, values, needs. Needs being primary needs, secondary needs, tertiary needs, right? Pain points. What's worrying them? What's keeping them up at the base of their skull? What worries them? That's going to close the toughest sales. Okay? Then, as you're asked those questions and you're getting like that's how you build that massive rapport simultaneously. And when you do those 3 things, it sets you up for greatness. You get it? Now, turning it over to the practical application, guys, none of this works if you're not out there in the field or on the phone banging away. Remember, sales is a numbers game. Let's just call it like it is. I can take any person, including you, but you gotta be willing to work. And also, remember those dream stoppers. You're just getting started on this amazing journey that's gonna change your life and improve the life of everybody around you. Don't let the naysayers get in your way from living the life you deserve. You deserve a life of greatness. You deserve to be able to have the things that you want and desire. You deserve to be able to take care of the people that you love. You deserve to be able to provide for your family, the community around you. You deserve to live a life at the highest level. Bottom line, and I'm here to help you get there. That's what Straight Line Certification's all about. Okay? If you haven't gone through lesson 1, make sure you do it today. Please. Because tomorrow I'm moving on to the next lesson. So make sure you do it today. Go through your quizzes, do your exercises. Every exercise is going to come back in later modules. You'll see the whole thing builds into this wild turnkey scripting solution. So you're in great hands. I want to thank you for signing up. You guys are also, those who haven't, check it out. Remember, there's a 30-day free trial. You can't lose. All right. If you have, and also some people had issues with payments. You couldn't afford it. The team's been a bit liberal for those that need a little bit extra time to pay. I'm open to that. Those are for special people. Love you all. Let's rock and roll. We'll talk again tomorrow.